Hey YouTube, the case for Shipwreck silver. Well, truth be told, at least in my opinion, there is not much of a case for Shipwreck silver. It is a pretty specific type of silver that's somewhat rare. However, I don't think that I can possibly recommend it as investment grade. It is more of, if you like it, you buy it, you stick it on a shelf, you look at it, you tell people about it, you read the stories about it, and you may at some point in the future find a buyer for it should you choose to sell it. But it is certainly not like the generic silver rounds or American Silver Eagle rounds that we can trade back and forth on a regular basis. This particular piece I purchased on a trip over to the Oregon coast from the Cannon Beach Treasure Company. I'm not about to tell you how much I paid for it because it was so ridiculously expensive over spot that you would all think I was crazy. But it was a fun little niche piece to buy. I do enjoy the historical value of it, but really I'm the only one that can probably really appreciate that value. A little bit about this coin: it is an ocho real, ocho reales in Spanish, has a Mexico City mint mark, the M right there. It weighs roughly about the same amount as a Morgan dollar, and there's some historical reasons for that are based on some works by Thomas Jefferson, but I won't get into those now. This particular piece was found at the bottom of the ocean from the shipwreck of the Concepcion. The name of the ship was actually Nuestra Señora de la Pura y Limpia Concepcion, that apparently was sailing to Seville, Spain from Havana, Cuba, and it was loaded with all kinds of silver from the mines in the New World, of course, Mexico, Peru, some of those areas that had the different mines back in the 1600s. It's certainly treasure. It was, I don't know whether you can call it blood treasure. I suppose much of the treasure that came from the New World was blood treasure, because it was, they used slaves to mine it. It wasn't necessarily a nice time to live if you were Central America, South America area, given the way that the folks were treated by some of the conquistadors, at least based on my historical studies. This particular ship was, I think, doomed from the start. It sounds like after they built the ship, it started leaking almost immediately, and it turns out that when they loaded it down with tons of silver, big surprise, it didn't make it very far and ended up sinking in the ocean. Don't have exactly where it sank. I don't know that the finders of these shipwrecks necessarily divulge the exact locations of where they sank, but obviously it was somewhere in the ocean. I'm sure I could research it and find more details, but they're curious pieces. I wouldn't necessarily call them investment pieces, because at the end of the day it's a very small market, I think, that would be attracted to this type of silver. I doubt I'll ever get my money back out of it, but I don't really anticipate selling it, and that wasn't the reason for the purchase. I just bought it because I liked it. I have a display case at home in the man cave, and that's where I like to put pieces like this. I have silver pieces, gold pieces, and I'll share some of those later on. But so yeah, the curious case for Shipwreck silver, no, probably not as investment grade stuff, but certainly something that's kind of fun. There's some neat historical value here. This one is actually dated 1626 with a 1627 over date, so I think when they stamped this one they goofed and said, whoops, we're in the wrong year. But pretty interesting stuff. At some point in the future I'll make another video as to how they actually produce these. It's fairly fascinating how they do it, given the way they mint coins today. 400 years ago things were done a lot differently. But anyway, pretty interesting stuff. Shipwreck silver. Hope you appreciate the video. Take care. Silver Bugle out.